We live in a time where everyone's starting a business, launching a brand, or selling something online. So how do you stand out in a crowded market? Today we're talking about finding your niche and why your past self might be your greatest clue. Let's go ahead and get to it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Success Spectrum Podcast. I'm your host, Kadeem McLean, and I want to help you to find your niche. So I'm going to give you some questions, give you some things to think about that will help you to narrow it down, because a lot of us think to ourselves, we don't know our avatar. Who is our target client? Or we hear these questions, especially being a new entrepreneur, you will be asked these questions many times over. And if you don't know who are you really speaking to, who are you really attempting to attract or offer your service, product, or solution to, you don't know until you go through these questions and do the work to figure it out. And again, kind of like I said in the intro there, who you were in your past life, who you were previously, that is what will help you to determine who your niche is. There's a big gap there in terms of who you were versus who you are now. You went through a lot of trials and tribulations, which led you to where you are. Other people might have those same challenges. So let's go ahead and get into it, because my first question for you was something I heard from CJ. I gotta give him the credit, CJ Quinney, ETA. And the question is, what comes easy to you that's hard for most? What comes easy to you that's hard for most? Because this question, it helps to cut through a lot of the noise and simplify things. What comes easy to you that is hard for most? That might be, I don't really want to give examples because there's so many things out there. You might be an amazing artist. You might be an amazing musician. You might pick up a guitar or a set of drums and just go like it's nothing because you just practice it so much and it's second nature. It's like you're breathing when you're playing. You might be a great communicator. You might be able to articulate yourself in a manner that is above regular comprehension because it's just so, let's say, otherworldly, it seems, because you speak at a beyond university level, whatever, I don't know what it might be for you, right? You might be somebody who was a great connector. You might be an amazing networker, networking, connecting with people, just always making people feel good, right? They feel good being around you just because your energy and the ethos that you give off, right? Your aura. You might be someone who's very technical and it's just technology comes, it's second nature to you. It's easy. So again, what comes easy to you that's hard for most? Because most people struggle with it. That is something that you could lean into, right? And that's the start of it. That's something that you can lean into because other people need what you have. It's difficult for them. It comes easy to you. And for myself, I had to sit on this one. I had to really think about this because I was like, I don't know what comes easy to me. Because it's like breathing. I didn't know. I had to really sit and contemplate. And it might be the same for you. You might have to sit and contemplate or even ask others, what does it seem like I do well? Like, what do I do well? Just give me some things, list them off, whatever the case. Those closest to you, they might know, because you might not know yourself until you sit down and reflect or ask these people around you, your loved ones, to say, what is it that you think I do very well? And they'll tell you. And oftentimes we might hear it and doubt it, but if multiple people are saying it, then it's probably true. So I have to realize that for myself, and you might have to do the same, because again, though whatever comes easy to you as hard for most, it's like breathing. You might not notice it, right? You don't necessarily count the amount of breaths you take. You don't necessarily pay attention to when you're utilizing your gift. And that's what this will help you to determine. Where is your gift? What is your gift? Because where things kind of feel, let's say, effortless, that's usually where your competitive edge is. When it comes to figuring out your niche, let's go into point 2. Helping your past self is something that you might want to dive into. Who were you in the past? Who did you used to be? What struggles, what trials, what tribulations did you used to face and you had to overcome? And then of course we dive into how we overcame those things, but you can figure it out looking through your life, right? Because you are best equipped to help the person you used to be. You are best equipped to help the person you used to be. You got yourself to where you are now. You no longer deal with those frustrations. You no longer deal with those trials and tribulations because you worked yourself out of it. Therefore, you know how to work yourself out of it. And there are other people, I can guarantee you, who face similar trials and tribulations, that if you gave them that blueprint, they will then be able to get out of it in their own way with your help and your assistance. That is where your niche could lie. Helping who you used to be. You've overcome that doubt, you've overcome that frustration, and you've gone through the trial and error to see what worked and what didn't work. So you can basically cut it down, let's say, get rid of the extra fat, cut it down to what's required and what's needed to get from that point, those frustrations, those trials, that tribulation, that down point, that doubt, to where you are now. Let me give you a quick stat on this. Clients are 3 times more likely to trust someone who's lived their struggle versus somebody who is just based off a theory, or let's say has credentials, right? Somebody who's lived through that struggle, a similar struggle that they face, somebody they can relate to, they are more likely to come to you for that service, 3 times more likely. So if you just put that out there and you talk about your story a little bit, you're going to attract more people. Of course, you have to be able to offer them something that can convert them, right? But at the end of the day, that is something that can attract them. And you might want to lean into that a little bit to find out if that might be your niche, because it very well might be. As an example, I'm in Canada, for anybody who doesn't know, and we have a big coffee shop over here called Tim Hortons, and they have a associated charity, I'll call it, which is now called Tim Hortons Camps. And I went through their program, right? I went through there for one summer, and it was basically a summer camp where I spent 10 days out there, went through the program. And afterwards, I was invited back for what used to be called the Youth Leadership Program. So it was an additional 5 years, and I went through their program, of course. And the idea is to develop, certain life skills, increase discipline and confidence, and so on and so forth, right? And amazing connections throughout that. That's a whole other conversation for another time. But I went through that. I had doubt. I didn't necessarily have a level of confidence that I should have had. Right? I didn't necessarily trust myself or believe in myself in certain things. A few experiences really taught me to trust myself, to believe in myself, and to have a certain level of confidence. And what did I do? Afterwards, I went back and I worked there because I am best equipped to help the person I used to be. This organization, this experience gave so much to me. I wouldn't be who I am now without it. How can I give back? How can I go and help the people who are in the situation that I used to be in when it comes to self-doubt, a lack of belief, lack of confidence, and being very quiet, and being very quiet because of the lack of belief and so on, right? Thinking my opinion didn't matter. So I went back, of course, and I worked there for a few years to help those people who were in the same situation that I was in. Just again, I am best equipped to help that person who I used to be, those in a similar situation, and so are you. As a subscriber to this podcast or a listener to this podcast, I want to give you $30. How am I going to do that? Enter Rakuten. Rakuten is a platform where you can find deals of the week. And on here, it doesn't matter if you're looking for clothes, doesn't matter if you're looking for electronics, services, food, you can get cash back. $30 cash back, rather 30%, 20%, 4%. You can get Dyson, Yeti. I know a lot of us need to file our taxes. Those of us who are late, you can use Intuit TurboTax to file your taxes. Ancestry. There are deals upon deals on here. And here's how it's going to work. I refer you. You click the link in the description. You spend $30 on this platform. Guess what? We both get $30 back. Sounds like a win-win deal, doesn't it? Go ahead and click that link in the description and get yourself your $30. To go back to what is easiest for you comes easy to you. That's hard for most. Another stat here for you. 72% of entrepreneurs build businesses around the skills that they already excel in. Why make it difficult and have to go learn a new skill? You already do this thing so naturally, so well, that it's a part of who you are. You've been doing it, you haven't even realized it. Utilize that skill and go start a business. 72% of entrepreneurs, that's a high percentage, right? Because it's not just about being skilled though, right? We got to be careful here. You got to choose something that does feel natural to you and feel something that, and something that again, you do excel in, feels natural, but it's difficult for others. That's one of the key pieces. It has to be difficult for others because that is your market. If it's difficult for others to do it, that's who you need to help because you already do this thing so well. Others don't do it so well. And if I don't do something well, but I know you do, I'm going to come to you for that service. I'm going to ask you for that help because I see you do this thing so well. Marketing, for example, I'm not the best marketer, far from it. You do marketing well, please reach out to me. But if you do marketing well, I'm going to reach out to you, right? Because I know you do this thing so well that I don't, and I don't do it well. So I'm going to come to you for your services naturally. You're not a plumber. Who do you go to when you need services? You go to a plumber, right? You go to the specialist for these things, and you do this thing so well that you can become or already are a specialist without knowing it. That is where your target market is. And guess what? When there's a gap in the market and they know you do something well, but they don't, that's where you can charge premium prices. Not overcharge, but charge accurately according to your skills, your experience, and who you're helping. So again, your niche mirrors who you used to be, your past self. Might not be 100% exact. However, there are people going through something similar. And because of that, that is where I recommend at least starting or taking a look to see if that can be your niche. Reach out to those people. Why? You know the language. You know the struggles, you know the pain points, you know the trials and tribulations that they have gone through, the storms. You know the storms you've gone through, so you can relate to the storms that they're going through. And if they can relate to you, they are more likely to be attracted to your message, to be attracted to your product or solution, whatever it is that you're doing. So again, that niche, this will help you to determine that niche. Who were you in the past? What did you struggle with? Sit down and think about it. What trials have you overcome? How did you overcome those trials? And you speak to that, you are going to find your niche. You are going to be able to help those people in a similar situation to where you used to be. And just to reiterate, if you struggled with it, there are thousands of other people who have likely struggled with it or are currently struggling with that exact same thing, or again, something very similar to it. Speaking on this, because it's who you used to be, not necessarily something you read in a book or watched online or anything like that, it's more relatable again and authentic. People like realism. People like authenticity. So when you are authentic, again, you are going to naturally attract more people, attract more potential clients, attract a tribe, people that are going to evangelize your service or product. Speaking about all this, let me give you the inverse. 42% of startups fail due to a lack of market need. That's research done by CB Insights. 42% of startups fail due to a lack of market need. When you go into who you used to be, we know there's a need for it because you at one point needed it. You at one point needed somebody who is where you are now to reach back and help to pull you out of where you were. Right? You didn't necessarily, maybe you didn't have that, but guess what? Now you can be that person for others. Pay it forward, whatever phrase you want to utilize here, but we need to be able to reach back, help others up because you are equipped to help who you used to be. Helping who you used to be helps you to make sure you are addressing a real, painful, and validated problem because you went through it. So you knew it was real. You know how painful it was, and it's validated because it's your personal experience. So again, you don't have to guess if there's a market for it. You know there is because you were once in that market of people who would need this service, right? You are the proof that it exists. The market exists. So being different, differentiation doesn't come from just being loud. It doesn't come from being, boisterous, loud and boisterous, if that's the right word. It comes from clarity, right? Knowing who you are helping, exactly who you're helping, why you are uniquely qualified to help those people. So I leave you with this, and I wrote this one down here. Your scars are your strategy. Your story is your strength, and your past self is your proof. If this was valuable for you, helped you to determine your niche, or to give you some questions that really help you to think about it, share this out with somebody who you know could benefit from it. All right, Kadeem here, and I'll see you in the next one.